GPS graduation here at Trinity Y.M.C.A. It's been quite a journey. We've been learning a lot about life and leadership. And so you're going to get to see kind of a summary of what your kids have learned. We're going to have a keynote speaker who's going to share again how important living with character is to your success in life. And then we're going to have the stars of the show, which are all your kids, and they're going to come up and share what they learned about themselves, what they want to be someday, and some of the principles from Character GPS that are going to help them be successful. And then they're going to receive their certificates. So this is official completion of the Character GPS program. So you are certified, you are equipped, you know, right, what you got to do in life. Now you just got to practice it, right? And they're going to get a hero in the mirror where they've written some descriptors so that they can put it on their nightstand, put it in the bathroom. So every day they're going to remind themselves that how much you worth, guys?
Priceless.
Priceless. That's right. You're a hero in the making. And then they're also going to receive a dog tag set. So every dog tag set, one for each of the adventures. So we will ceremoniously award them, kind of like knighting. You know, you are equipped, you are ready for the challenges in life, and then they're going to get a Character GPS challenge coin. And this is a coin that they can keep in their pocket to remind them of what they want to improve on. Okay? Now, as far as we know, none of the kids were perfect. Okay? And we actually stress that perfection is not the goal. No one's perfect. But we can always improve, right? We can always get better and build good habits that will serve us well in life. So they're going to share something that they're going to work on. We call it the 30-day test, right? Because, guys, how long does it take to build a habit?
30 days.
30 days, that's right. So with your 30-day test, your parents can kind of testify to see how you're doing, working away at that, and this coin will be your reminder. Then, when they are all done, they're going to get to go over, and they have earned prizes by their participation, their test scores, and their, we call reward chips. Answering questions, some of them helped each other when they were absent to fill in the information. Their journey guides in the back are theirs to take with them. So it has all these principles for success in life, and they're going to take all their notes. And that way, if they need any reminding, you can tell them to go look at their GPS book, right? Their journey guide. So the kids, just so you understand now, you're going to be able to pick a t-shirt, a hat, or for the girls, you either have scarves, the boys have ties. So you can pick one article of clothing, and then you can pick one prize, okay? So anything else. There's all sorts of kind of neat stuff over there. So when you are complete, you can walk over there, and Miss Debbie will help you picking that out. So without any further ado, it looks like we got everyone getting here. We would like to share with you a little bit about our program. So let's get started on the journey here to Character GPS success. So the first thing that we always did in every adventure, right guys? We said, what is the shortest distance from today to your amazing future? And what's the answer, guys?
Straight line.
A straight line. I want to see you guys aim at your future. Let's do it together. A straight line, right? When you aim at something, you have a chance of hitting it, right? So we don't want to just say a straight line. We're actually shooting for our future, right? So unfortunately, though, as straight as we'd like our focus to be, we get distracted, right? So let's hear a couple, raise your hand, a couple distractions that get to kids your age. Yes, Bridget?
After school curriculums.
Okay, now obviously some of those are actually good, but some of them can be distracting, right? Alexander? Computer games, right, that kind of distract you. And when your mom calls you for dinner, what are you supposed to do, guys?
Go downstairs and have dinner.
That's right. You stay where you are. You don't say, I got to go to the next level, right? You know, I got to finish this level, right? You know, you stop where you are, right? You go to dinner. Seneca's another distraction.
Another one of the distractions, playing with your friends.
Well, it can be when you're supposed to be doing homework or something else, your chores, right? When you're all done with work, the old principle, right? You work and then you play. It's good to be with your friends, right? But you got to have your priorities in life. Debbie, what's another distraction?
Notes in school.
Passing notes around. That can be very distracting. Yeah, Sean? Drugs is a big one, right? So you guys are learning that drugs are actually destructive to your body and your brain. So we don't want to get caught up in any of that. Robbie?
Maybe like bullies.
Bullies. We talked a lot about bullies, right? When you have someone bullying you, who has the problem? You or the bully? The bully has the problem. They're obviously insecure. They need some help, right? So what do you say? Raise your hand. What do you say to a bully who's picking on you? Caitlin?
I'm sorry that you have to pick on me to feel good for yourself.
Right, and then you turn and walk away. You don't escalate, right? And if they don't get the message that you know who you are, right, then you can get a teacher or someone, and when you go to the teacher, you don't just complain and, kind of rat on them, right? You say, I think Billy's having a problem. He's picking on me and I've asked him not to. I think he needs some help, right? When a teacher or an adult hears that, they know you're not the problem. They know that this other kid's the problem, right? So all these are kind of distractions that can keep us off our straight line to success. So what we did in our program to help map out their success was to actually lay out a step-by-step kind of stepping stones so you can get to your target. So rather than a leap of faith, we actually built these stepping stones. So the first stepping stone was PR. So raise your hand if you remember what PR stands for.
Proactive responsibilities.
Proactive responsibility. It's a lot of words, right? So in proactive responsibility, the kids learned that they need to make good decisions, right? It's not what happens to your life, it's how you respond to it. That's the key to being successful. So they learned that they can take control of their lives, they're not victims, they can choose to handle tough situations. And when life throws you lemons, guys, what do?
You make lemonade.
You make lemonade, right? You make the best out of it. Life is not going to always be easy, right? So don't expect that. But you can do something about that to make a difference. So once you know that you can't blame someone else, you're going to take control of your life, it's not your parents' fault, right? It's you, then you get to take the next step, which is CD. What's that? You got to have the can-do attitude. Now, it's kind of corny. I told the kids, my last name's Kane. I was raised in a family of 7 kids, and we had a can-do attitude, all right? It wasn't, an option. You were a Kane, you had a can-do attitude. So you couldn't say can't in our family. You learned to find ways to get things done, take responsibility. So leaders take initiative. They don't give up. They don't just try. They what?
They do it.
They do it, right? You ever heard someone say, well, I'll try? You ever heard kids say that? I'll try, which really means what, guys?
You won't do
You don't want to do it.
They don't really want to do it. They maybe make a little bit of effort, and if it doesn't work out immediately, they just kind of bail on that, right? So we want to say, I will do it, and you follow through on that. So once you have that can-do attitude, you're willing to learn, and we shared with the kids the secret to learning. So they know the 3 steps, and we used the football as an analogy. So if I was throwing a pass to Sean, for instance, Sean, you remember what do you got to do to catch that pass? You got to what? You got to receive it, and then you store it, right? You tuck it in, and then you use it. That's right. So that's the 3 steps to learning. And as long as you understand that you've got to receive, you can't take your eye off. You got to pay attention to learning, right? Or you're going to drop the ball. You're going to miss that information. But you got to store it. And what's the best way to store something you've learned? Alexander? Teach it to someone. That's right. So hopefully the kids were coming home and sharing with you some of the things that they were learning. And by doing that, they were moving it from their short-term memory to their long-term memory, right? And we all know, guys, are you going to run out of brain capacity? Is that a problem? No, you got plenty, so you don't have to worry. You can teach and you can learn as much as you want. You can store it all in there, right? But then you got to use it, because if you don't use it, you're going to lose it, right? So we learned that this having can-do attitude is a key step to being successful. Once you're willing to do that, now you're ready for a TD. In our program, Alexander, what's TD stand for?
Discovery.
Talent discovery. You got to know everyone is talented. And so we use the Myers-Briggs tool, we'll show you a little bit about that, where they learn that they all have talents. And when you discover your talents, you develop your talents. And then you can do great things with it and move on to the next step, which is, Seneca?
Visions.
You got to have vision, right? A lot of people, unfortunately, these days are just in survival mode, right? They don't have a vision. They don't know where they're going. And if you don't see your future, you're probably going to get distracted, right? So all the kids are going to be sharing with you their SMART goals of how they decided they could use their talents for something really good in their life. So once they had this vision and some goals to work towards, they were ready for 3T. Who remembers 3T? Bridget?
Treasures, temptation, and time.
There you go. You got to know your time. You got to manage your time, your temptation, and treasure, right? So actually, your kids learned about time management. Okay, I mean, that's something that all adults still struggle with, right? But they learn they can waste time or they can use time properly. So we're going to be sharing a little bit about that, but you got to avoid the temptations because that will waste your time and it will waste your treasure, right? So once you're able to manage yourself, which is some of the hardest things to do, is to discipline yourself, you're ready then to move on to MR. And what is MR, Seneca?
Never mind. I thought I had it.
That's okay. Well,
Meaningful relationship.
meaningful relationships, right? Now, usually for the kids, when we say Jerry Springer, they all know about drama, right? And these relationships that are all full of drama are unproductive, right? You want to have meaningful relationships, which is win-win. And so we'll be sharing with you a little bit how they realize they can have a win-win relationship with their parents, right? Appreciate their parents, help out, make it easier to be a parent. Well, doesn't that sound good? I think that's a secret to success, right? So once they're able to have healthy relationships, they're ready for the highest level, which is TLC. Megan, you remember TLC? Okay, I thought you had that one. All right, yeah.
Teams love collaborating.
There you go. Teams love collaboration. Normally, TLC is tender, love, and care. You need that in teams, right? But teams love to collaborate. So the kids learn how important it is to work in teams, because you get a lot more done in teamwork than you can just individually yourself. And so the kids actually created an ad campaign against some of the negative behaviors like bullying, lying, cheating, stealing, all those kind of things. And so they could then convince their peers that there's a better way, right? The way of being an effective leader. So with the stepping stones, now it's easy to get to your future, right? You got all the tools, you're equipped. So we're going to show you a few kind of interesting things that we learned along the way here. So first, with proactive responsibility, the kids learned that it's better to be a compass instead of a, Seneca? Weather vane, right? Weather vanes, they switch with the winds, right? Your emotions, you're up and down, right? I think for all your parents, are there any days that you feel like not going to work or not doing a responsible? Is that true? Right? But what do you decide to do? You go to work, right? And so you don't let your feelings dictate your decisions. You got to do the right thing regardless of how you feel about it, right? Sometimes you got to get past that. Good days and bad days, you just make them all good days by making the right decision. So we talked about being proactive and not reactive, right? So don't let the emotions just react to something. So if someone says something mean to you, do you just say something mean back? Seneca, what do you do instead?
No, okay, so you don't say something mean back and I know what it is, but I can't phrase it.
Well, that's the first step, right? You create that freedom. Count to 10, do something so you don't just react, and then you decide what to do instead. Sean, do you remember? Yeah, so being proactive means you make the best out of that situation. You decide how to handle that. If it's a bully, we know what to say. If it's a tough situation, your parents want you to do something, oh, I don't feel like it, you change your attitude and you say, yes ma'am, yes sir, I'll do it, right? Even though you don't feel like it, and you go do it, right? Because your parents know what's best for you. You got to trust them, right? So we had a fun activity called Stab the Potato. And it looked kind of impossible to take this plastic straw and strike it through a thick, solid potato. But there was a technique to it. If you prepared properly. Robbie, do you remember?
Yeah, you have to put your thumb on top of the straw and...
That's right. That makes the straw stronger. It traps the air, so it's scientific. And then what was the second step to it? Instead of stabbing, what do?
You go straight down.
Right, you build momentum, you follow through. In life, it's follow through, right? You don't just take a stab at things, you follow through. Because if you don't go all the way through with what you plan to do, you'll get stuck along the way. And so it was amazing that all of a sudden, these kids, whoosh, right through that potato. Piece of cake, right? So you got to prepare though, right? Being proactive means you prepare and learn what you got to do. So we used a metaphor of the iceberg, kind of describe our condition, right, as humans. How much of the tip of the iceberg shows? Alexander, do you remember? 10%. So the mass of the iceberg that keeps it afloat, that 90% is below the surface. That's the way you are, right? People see the tip of the iceberg, but who you are is on the inside, right? And what determines what's really important to you is your character. So we taught the kids, reinforce what you've been teaching them, but you know how sometimes kids hear from their parents and they kind of roll their eyes, and then we hear from someone else, they go, oh yeah, I guess that is true, right? So we're here reinforcing all the good things you've been telling your kids, and now they know how smart you are, right? So we said truth is something that's very important, right? You got to value truth if you want to be successful in life. So what does that mean? It means you got to practice honesty, integrity, balance, discernment, and keeping promises. And guys, for how long to make it a habit? 30 days. Is 29 days okay? Probably not. You're going to have to work at it every day. Can you skip days in between?
No.
No. So when your parents ask you a tough question, you don't lie about it, you tell the truth, right? No matter how hard it is, you find a way to tell the truth. If you practice it consistently, it comes to the surface, and that's who you are. And your parents say, you know, I can trust you, right? Now, Abraham Lincoln, what was his nickname?
Honest Abe.
Honest Abe. And how did he get that nickname?
He didn't lie.
That's right. He practiced it. It wasn't a campaign slogan. It was who he was, right? And that was the kind of president we needed during a very tough time in our country's history, right? So when you practice these things, they become who you are, and you get then the benefit of them. You become someone who people respect. Healthy relationships. You're trustworthy. People see that you're someone credible. You're someone that they would want to hire. Someone they want on their team, right? Because they know they can count on you. Your parents can count on you. Isn't that great? That's what makes for a great family. When your parents can count on you, you count on your parents, right? I say that's a win-win deal. That's a pretty good deal, right? So we practice these things. So we had Michael here trying to help us understand we're not victims, right? Poor Michael is sick today. I heard he had a terrible fever. So we're going to get all his materials to him here because he did a great job in the program. But you got to pass it on, right? When you know something good, as Alexander said, you teach it, right? And you pass it on to as many people as you can. So here was our second adventure in doing. We had Tim Tebow, one of our heroes, because he demonstrated that whenever people trying to stop you, he was focused on that goal line, right? When his whole team was behind him, blocking for him, he had that can-do attitude, and he had a lot of comeback victories for the Broncos in that season, right? So now he's trying to play baseball, see if he can put that can-do attitude to baseball and see how he does. So, as I shared, my family is the Canes. We're actually the Texan Canes, right? And so I put on my cowboy hat to remind that my dad was the last of the Texan Canes. We had 7 kids, right? So we solved that problem. There's plenty of Texan Canes. Don't worry about that. We got that covered. But my dad and my mom then had to raise 7 kids and pay for 7 kids, you know the challenge, and then pay for education, right? And so my parents told us at a very young age that you're going to have to work and prepare for college. We're going to help you get there, but you're going to have to, we can't pay for 7 kids to go to college, right? And so we didn't like it, but we had to save 10% of everything we earned went in our college savings bank, okay? Not a popular thing, but later on we realized the wisdom of our family. My folks were really thinking about our future. But I never forget the story I think I told the kids. My kid sister Laura, she was like 3 years old. I remember one day she had this big lollipop, and she was walking to the refrigerator with this lollipop. I said, Laura, what are you doing? And in her 3-year-old voice she said, I'm saving my lollipop for college. Okay? So I mean, that's how ingrained it was. Now, the fruit of that was all 7 of us kids got bachelor's degrees. All 7 of us got master's degrees. And my kid brother Steve is the PhD, the doctor in the family, right? So again, when we create a vision and we follow through on it, great things happen, right? So we got to believe in that and we got to work on it. So Megan and Sean did a great job. They love to do role plays, right? So they know how important that can-do attitude is, right, guys? So this was an opportunity. We always role play what we were learning. So we could test it out in the safety of the classroom. So then under pressure, when they got to do it, they know what to do, right? They're prepared for it. So our third adventure, TD, right? Talents discovered. So we did a mini Myers-Briggs. You guys should have gotten those results of your kids. If not, they're in their books. And so they learned about that each of them has a special toolkit. And it's different from others, right? It's not all the same. But all of them are important. They're all priceless, right? So you don't let someone tell you that you're not good enough. You don't let someone put you down, right? You believe in yourself. And you develop those talents. And so you're going to hear your kids share what they're working on. So finding your talents, we said kind of you score a touchdown, right? When you discover your talents, TD, right? So this is something that we kind of want to keep reminding ourselves. Because on some days, when things haven't gone well, you have to remember that you're a hero in the making, right? Doesn't mean you're perfect, right? You're going to learn from your mistakes, but you're going to try to make as many good decisions as you can. So Seneca knows he has some unique talent, so he was catching the football, you know, knowing how to learn there, right? Okay, we're not doing it to embarrass you, Seneca. All right, so we talked about having a vision. It's kind of like a bullseye. And guys, remember, you have to answer 3 questions in life. What do you want to have, what do you want to do, and you want to be. But our advertising, our world wants you to focus on what, guys? Have, right? You got to have all this stuff. And then you do things to get that, and then you end up being something that you may not want to be, like in debt, you know, or whatever it might be, right? So instead, what's the bullseye? What do we focus on, Alexander? We focus on be. There you go, right? Who do you want to be? Then you know the things to do to develop that, and then you're going to have the things in life that money can't buy. Satisfaction, pride in yourself, right? And we're going to hear from our keynote speaker some of the things he did to develop himself to do some amazing things. So we're going to hear a little bit about that. But you have to have the right focus, right? Focus on the bullseye. Who do you want to be? So we had reinforcement from our partners here. Dawn, step that up. So she was helping the kids. You got to have a vision, right? So we're all working on this together. It's a team effort. So again, I hope that the things we were sharing in here, that you heard from the kids, that you felt, yeah, the kids are getting it. That's so great. Because you guys, we consider you heroes. You are heroes. Raising kids in this culture these days is not easy. And so we want to appreciate you and reinforce that. So the kids learn to use a tool called SMART goal setting. And guys, you remember what the SMART acronym stands for? I know Ariana knows this by heart, right? What does that stand for? Right. So if you think through these things of what you want to do, you create a game plan, right, for pursuing that. So it's not just a wish, it's a plan. A plan for success. You make it real. So there's Destiny. She's got a plan. She's going to be a photographer, right? So we had her help us take some pictures. She was really, those came out great. So whatever your passion is, your dream, don't let people discourage you from it, right? Pursue that dream and it's going to come true. You got to stick with it. So the thing that can get us down, right, is self-management, the disciplines. We talked about the 3 T. So one of the things the kids learned was time management. They learned there's some must-dos in life, there's some preparation, there's distractions, and escape. So they learned you say no to what? W, remember, what do you say no to?
Distraction.
Yeah, we don't want to be distracted, right? And we certainly don't want to escape, right? But that's kind of easy to do when you feel the pressure of life. Kind of want to escape from those responsibilities, right? But instead, if we focus on preparation, allows you then when you're ready to do it. Like you take a test, what do you do before the test, guys?
Study.
You study, right? For a game, right? What does the team do before the game? They practice, right? You don't just practice like right before the game. You practice over and over till you've got your plays down, right? When you have good preparation, you're going to be ready for the must-dos in life. And then you're going to have good luck. You can make good luck in your life. So the kids were actually looking at how they're spending time. And they went ahead and categorized it, and we came out pretty good. There was more time spent with the preparation and must-do, but there was some distractions that we mentioned before, right, and sometimes escaping. So this was an exercise for them to realize they can make good choices in how they use their time. Okay, so then we also talked about, we used kind of a little play off 3T, sounds like 3D. Okay, so it's like 3D movies, so we watched a movie, so they got to see through 3T eyes, how do you look at life in a new way when you realize that there's consequences to making bad decisions, right? So we watched a movie, they can tell you about that. Sean got himself in trouble, not this Sean, the movie Sean, because he was tempted, right? So we have to make good decisions. We were watching Journey to the Center of the Earth. Dawn, you missed your slide. I had your slide here, you encouraging the class. So.
I'm sorry, oh thank you.
That's all right. So hopefully, when your kids now have these principles reinforced, they're seeing life through like new glasses, right? Through an understanding of what they can do to take control of their lives. So once they've got that under their belts, then we have meaningful relationships, right, MR? So we talked about the golden rule. Raise your hand, who knows the golden rule? Megan.
Treat others the way you want to be treated.
Absolutely, right? And when we do that, that's win-win, right? We think about other people's needs, and we think about our own. We find a way that it all works together, right? We don't just try to get our way at the expense of other people, including your parents, right? So why is nagging, when you nag it, please, 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 why is that a bad strategy, Sean? Yeah, that's where you want to win and you're making your parents the loser. Instead, you find out what do your parents expect, right? Then you can ask for things and then they may reward you for it, right? So work a win-win in that. That's the golden rule. But it's all based on respect, right? So respect means respect everyone's special personality, ethnicity, culture, and talents, right? So Aretha had it right? It's all about R-E-S-P-E-C-T, right? We got to respect each other and respect ourselves, right? So we can then pursue healthy relationships in life. So we had some of the kids doing role plays again, and it looks like Bridget was really clear. We got the right answer here, right, Bridget? So working together for that. MR is the right answer. And I tell you, we had kids who loved answering questions. So we were throwing out reward chips all over the place. It was really great, the participation we had. The kids are eager to know the truth because the truth will set you free, right? So the last adventure then, TLC, we worked together in teams. So they worked on solving these puzzles together. They worked on ad campaigns together. They learned that you got to listen to each other. You got to add each other's ideas to come up with something bigger than you would on your own. So we used some examples in nature, right? We had a Clydesdale horse can pull how many tons? Robbie? A Clydesdale horse, instead of 1 ton, a normal horse, these are big horses, they pull how much? 2 tons. So when you put 2 Clydesdale horses together, how much do they pull, Dubby?
50.
Not quite that much. 10. You think it's 2 plus 2 is 4. But when you work together, when you pull together in life, it's not additive, it's multiplying, right? So they pull 10 times the amount, right? 10 tons. So that's the opportunity. So we work together. Together, everyone achieves more. And so they were challenged to work on your team at home, your team at school, your sports team, right? Wherever you're a part of it, you want to make that team the best you can have it, right? And that means you contribute, right? So that you can make that. So we know that our girls are all into that. 2 is better than 1. That was our principle, right? 2 heads are better than 1 if we're working together with healthy relationships. So, we realize then that teamwork is the ultimate. We want to work with teamwork in everything that we do. So, nothing is impossible if we work together, right? So we said if you want to be successful in life, you have to come up with the right character. You got to have the principles, the values, build good habits, have a little faith in yourself, right? And where you're going, and then you put that together with energy, right? Your dreams, the freedom from addiction. And when you put this together, success and energy becomes the synergy in your life. Isn't that kind of cool, right? So we build synergy by practicing these things that we've learned. So before we get to our keynote speaker, because Robbie's going to run, Robbie, we're going to get you an opportunity to graduate first, okay? So Robbie, come on down here, okay? Robbie's got his script. All right, so these are the questions we're going to ask all the kids. And Robbie, I'll tell you, this is real leadership because Robbie here was the youngest kid in this class. And yet he held his own, right? He didn't let those middle schoolers intimidate him, right? He said, I'm priceless and I'm going to go forward. So we're going to have the kids share with you, what are some words to describe you?
I wrote down like a baseball pitcher, nice and funny.
There we go. What a great combination, right? Isn't that good? All right. So what do you want to be someday?
A car customizer.
Okay, so he loves customizing cars. Now let's be real specific. What part of that do you enjoy the most?
Maybe painting the cars.
Painting. The paint job really makes the car look hot, right? Hopefully the engine runs good on the inside, right? But it's got to look good on the outside. So what are then, how do you know when you have achieved this goal of the car customizing that you want to pursue?
I want to own my own business.
Yeah, you're going to own your business. You're going to be your own boss, right? That's great. So now what are your attainable steps? What do you got to do to get to that wonderful goal?
I gotta get a high school diploma.
Mm-hmm.